me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
I've always believed in just start. So for those of you that have an entrepreneurial bug, just start. Iterate along the way with feedback from your community and keep that feedback loop really tight from your audience to your product. And so if our product is great content and programming in Parks and Recreation, the feedback loop between this community and the product is as tight as we can get it. And then we try to make improvements, incremental improvements along the way. And that's how you build something great.
Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. We're bringing you a packed episode of updates on everything happening at DPRS Media Co. We're pushing forward with our mission to uplift Parks and Rec professionals. We'll be sharing exciting developments on our weekly newsletter, the weekly Parks and Rec Post. Our growing family of shows like facilities maintenance and youth sports mastery, and even a sneak peek at new shows in the pipeline, including urban forestry and state parks. We'll also discuss our expanding team and the incredible community feedback driving our progress. Get ready for all the updates. Let's dive in.
All right, we are live again. This is Craig LeBlanc with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. I have a lot of cool updates for us today. Apologize for Donnie. Donnie Hayes had to bail last minute. Per usual, he was how many of you are called into emergency meetings by the mayor, have to be there, and then you got to rearrange your whole schedule? And so he apologizes for not being able to come on our meeting today. To come on our show today. But you know, that is Parks and Recreation. That is serving the public. That is working in the chaos that is Parks and Recreation. So we are quite used to it by now. But this does give me a great opportunity to give a ton of updates. I feel like I haven't done an update in so long. So here we go. We'll go ahead and start off with our explainer video as far as what we're trying to do while we are creating a media company totally dedicated to Parks and Recreation. We have five brand shows all related to Parks and Recreation, and we've got a few more in the pipeline that I want to tell y'all about. But let's go ahead and use this to kick things off, and then we'll come right back and give y'all all these exciting updates.
Welcome to DPRS Media Co., the first media company built for the people behind the Parks and Rec community. We don't just cover on Parks and Rec, we elevate it, we amplify it, we honor it. At the heart of everything we do is one mission: to serve the public servants, the professionals who design, maintain, and lead the parks that shape our communities. Under the Daily Parks and Rec Show, we produce 6 powerful platforms. Leadership in Parks and Rec, a spotlight on directors, superintendents, and visionaries shaping the future of public spaces. Facility maintenance, where the boots hit the ground, a deep dive into the systems, crews, and craftsmanship that keep our parks clean, safe, and beautiful. Young Professionals Network, shining a light on the next generation of Parks and Rec. Students, interns, and mentors sharing how we build a legacy together. Youth Sports Mastery, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics. This series is for coaches, parents, and rec leaders working to make youth sports fun, fair, and meaningful again. The Rec Room, hosted by the passionate leaders of Henry County Parks and Rec. This show brings frontline energy and real-life stories from the field. And the weekly Parks and Rec Post, our official newsletter delivering stories, insights, and community wins every week. We are DPRS Media Co. LLC, a media company with a mission to uplift the professionals who serve every community, every park, every day.
All right, and I'm also going to get some mileage out of our 200th episode thank you video. Just this shout out goes to everyone that's come on the show, everyone that's been constantly. We have a steady stream of critiques, improvements, additions, deletes, you name it, coming from the Parks and Rec community that have come on stage with us, that are working in the background. This goes from our newsletter to our shows, to ideas for new shows, to recommended people that they feel like would be have a great message for the show, and we finally made it 200. That's 200 hours of content being produced, and I think we're pushing like 30 to 40 hours of content, live content every week. I mean, excuse me, every month. Soon to be every week. So this is a shout out to everyone. A big thank you from me, from the DPRS Media Company team of developers. Um, I almost said cryptographers. I'm still in Bitcoin land. Sorry, but videographers, digital artists, networkers. Gosh, and then shout out to the people that are coming together as an official board that's going to help guide us into creating content that really uplifts the community and really hones the message of what is Parks and Rec in general, and then just beating that drum constantly, raising awareness of this industry and the importance of this industry as an essential. Let's see, hold on, I want to say this correctly. Parks and Recreation, providing essential healthcare and wellness services. I like this direction because it really pulls us out of this non-essential on the chopping block. This is where we can make budget cuts when it comes to municipal dollars. We want to actually pull it on the opposite direction. The most essential service that we provide as a city is to the health and well-being of our community. And so here we go. I'll play this as a big shout out to everyone that's contributed to everything that we're doing.
From a simple mic in a rec center to a full-scale media company for the people who power our parks. 200 real stories, 5 original shows, and more to come, with one powerful mission: to lift up the voices of Parks and Rec professionals across the country. From maintenance crews and young interns and youths who love sports, to directors and public servants making a difference. We've built a platform that honors the unsung heroes behind every clean trail, every weekend tournament, every safe, welcoming park. This milestone isn't just about the content, it's about the people, the passion, the purpose. To every guest, listener, and supporter, thank you. The next chapter starts today. This is DPRS Media Co. Media for public service.
All right, great job, Chris, on building that. Just really great. I'm shocked at the at the level of excellence and production that our team puts out. So first thing I want to talk about is this. Look at that. I don't know if you can read it. This is the weekly Parks and Rec post. This is our official newsletter. We had this idea, I think it's probably been like 5 or 6 weeks ago, to kind of summarize the work that we're doing, the messages that have come on our show, the people and professionals that have recorded a 1-hour in-depth interview about their journey, their why, what they're doing in their community. And of course, I always ask the question in our interview process, is there something that you've become super passionate about or super knowledgeable around that you feel like you could speak on that would be benefit to the general community of Parks and Rec professionals? And then they just answer it. And it's typically sometimes half their show. And so we wanted to kind of highlight in a written form. Of course, we include the thumbnail, a little bit about the person and the description of the show. And so that's going to be probably about 3 or 4 pages of our newsletter, just highlighting that. Now, what we'll do is we record a show. We've got this show, the Leaders in Leadership series, which is 4 days a week. So those 4 shows will go up there. We also have Aaron Locke's show, which is the youth sports. This one, let me pop that one up there. That's that one. This is the one we're on now. That's the one that's every Thursday. We also have our facilities maintenance show, which is everything in facilities. Then we also have the rec room, and then we've got the YPN show, which is young professionals. So I'll kind of go over each one of those, but just staying focused on the newsletter, we kind of highlight and talk about the shows for that week. It goes out every Sunday, 5 a.m. Eastern, to your email. And so we've kind of officially said we're past the beta stage. Let's get this thing out there, get that into the hands of the people. So we're starting with the general community that have come on the show, and asked for even a greater level of feedback, ideas of what we could do with the newsletter. Now, one thing we're looking for is many of you have written 500 to 1,000 word articles for other organizations, your state associations, NRPA, anything else that might go up on your Facebook feed, or just something from the director. Um, that we're going to take about 3 or 4 of these a week and also highlight these articles. So if you've written something, if you'd like to write something, say you're an urban forester, or you're working on project management, or maybe things you want to consider when speaking to stakeholders or elected officials, when you're asking for, you know, $50 million for what you would call it master plan, that might take 20 years to build, or 10 years to build, something like that. We would like to highlight those articles and share them with the community. And so that way we can kind of get that message out there. But then also the things we record don't come out onto the YouTube channel into their final format, which is edited, got a highlight reel, it gives somewhat of a little commercial for the Parks and Rec department that that director would work for. That takes about 2 or 3 weeks to come out. So it's kind of like building momentum into the finished product of each show. So what it would look like is, and I guess I'll take you all a little bit behind the scenes about how the whole process works. Um, we reach out to you on LinkedIn. We find you there, and then we invite you to do an interview with me. This is a phone call. And then we kind of go into your history and kind of, design the show. And then usually about a month later or so, you get in the pipeline. You come on to the show, and that's where you do your live recording, which is just like this. You come on into either our YPN show, or which is our young professionals, or you come into the leadership show or facilities maintenance, and then boom, you got your 1 hour of content. Then it goes into production. And so post-production looks like creating a little highlight reel that we build at the beginning. And then we have a promotion for that city park and rec department. And so that's about another minute. So it takes our designers some time to kind of piece all that together. And then they create a thumbnail. For those of you that don't know what a thumbnail is, if you go onto YouTube, you'll see like just an image, and it's going to have like your face, your name, your title, your city, and maybe just a tagline of what it's about. So it takes us right now about 2 weeks to crank those out. We're running about 2 weeks behind schedule, falling further and further behind, but we're getting better at using a lot of the AI tools to speed that production up. And then eventually we'll probably hire a 4th video editor to help catch us up, because now we've got so many more shows that we're starting to produce. And then we've got more in the pipeline. So eventually, as our team grows, we'll catch up to where maybe within about 7 days, maybe even within, if we're wishing, maybe 48 hours later, we can put that up on YouTube Live so that you can share it with your community. But we want to incorporate all that into the newsletter. We've had a couple of great ideas. One of them is like a comic book page, like the old comics. Family Circus, I think, was one that I remember when I was a child. But with AI, we can just come up with some of the strangest things you've ever seen in Parks and Rec. I'm starting to ask that question. And then we can have our designers go and design like a little comic book strip about that. And I thought that would be a fun thing. That was a good idea that came from our community. So we'll probably incorporate that. But then there's a lot of other things like updates, We can also do one pagers for the state associations that we'll be attending. We are actually officially got the hotel room, got the sponsorship package, got everything so that we can attend the Kentucky Parks and Rec Association. This was actually one of the first ones that I attended in the official capacity of the Daily Parks and Rec show. So they wanted us to come back. We are coming back. We're also working very closely with the state of Louisiana. We attended Traps. We attended Alabama. We have every intention of attending NRPA and a few others. We've also got an invite from don't make a liar out of me. It's the Northeastern Parks and Rec conference. I think it's about 4 or 5 states that get together. Northern New England, I think it's what it's called. We'll probably attend that one as well. Now, of course, we can't attend in our current format. We cannot attend every state association for now, but eventually, where I see it is this is kind of our third phase of the Daily Parks and Rec show and DPRS Media Company. I envision us putting together kind of like a road camera crew. I will probably be pulling a lot of interns from LSU, Louisiana State University. Go Tigers. Congratulations to the baseball team that won the national championship. Sorry if you lost to us, but there's got to be some team that wins all the way. So I am actually sitting about 1,000 foot from LSU campus, about a 9 to 10 minute walk from the School of Journalism. And I have been beating the drum of strong internship programs for Parks and Recreation. And so got to put my money where my mouth is and do our part in hiring interns. We're going to use interns in broadcast journalism and in just the School of Journalism and the Communications College, so that we can get a few more hosts to help me host all the shows that are coming our way. So we're going to build this out in the third phase. I think phase 3 of the Daily Parks and Rec show is probably going to run till the end of the year. And what I envision doing that is we will put together a couple of more hosts like myself. And of course, I'll teach them how to host, how to interview. Of course, you have to, I don't know, we'll wrestle that tiger to the ground. And so patience with the interns as they come in and help me host the show and help do a lot of the back end work. But I think they will be part of what will be a camera crew, a production crew that can set up the mics, that can set up the video editing stuff, and that can start attending more and more state associations. And perhaps one day we will be able to attend every state association, because I don't have the bandwidth to attend approximately, probably 60 annual events that happen nationwide across America with the state associations and the national associations. And it's not just NRPA or SWPRT, which is Southwest Parks and Rec Training Institute, I think is what it's called. But also what I'm discovering is state parks, which I'm going to hold off talking about that till later in the show. But there's quite a few in-person events that I think we can be the press pass, the press, the media company that's showing up and just covering somewhat in like a news capacity, boots on the ground, man on the streets kind of stuff, where we're really covering what goes on at the state association annual events, at all these annual events that happens. And so I think as we attend those, that's going to be part of the newsletter as well. What we're attending, what's going on, who we interviewed, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of possibilities when you're producing somewhat of an old-fashioned newspaper, of course, in digital format. Of course, me, I'm a little bit old-fashioned, so I've actually looked at printing a hard copy newspaper just for old time's sake. And for those of you that might be interested in that, it's actually fairly cheap that you can upload just your digital file and they print it out and then you can ship it. And so if any of you are interested in having a little hard copy, old-fashioned newspaper that we would call the weekly Parks and Rec Post, I think I'd like to work on that all in this phase 3 of the Daily Parks and Rec show. Okay, so that's all we have on that. Next, what I'd like to do is just kind of cover, let's see. I'm going to play a little promo for facilities maintenance show. Now, all of these are getting ready to get a refresh, most likely in the next 30 to 60 days. So we're going to play it because it's what we have now. What you're going to see here is a promotion for the facilities maintenance side of Parks and Recreation. And there is just so much on that side of the equation to cover as far as expertise and master craftsmen that have dedicated their life to understanding golf courses, field maintenance, aquatics maintenance, urban forestry, project management, and it even dives a little into master planning. Even some of the software that's being used to do work orders and what's that big beast that everybody faces? It's called, hold on, having a brain freeze. Sorry, my local software is glitching in my head. Deferred maintenance. So deferred maintenance is always something that is just a heavy lift for all things facilities maintenance and Parks and Rec in general, because we've just got this massive real estate portfolio that sometimes is in good condition, oftentimes is in needs some work, and we just don't have the manpower and the budget to fix everything. And so a lot of times roofs and lighting and sports fields and fencing and you name it just gets kind of neglected and kicked down the road and stuff. And so what I'd like to do is try to highlight, the Parks and Rec departments that are doing some of the best jobs when it comes to tackling this big deferred maintenance beast that everyone's facing. But anyway, so we have a whole show dedicated to that, and it's kind of splotchy. We get those shows out from 10:30 at 10:30 a.m. Monday through Thursday, but I'm really trying to build a community of facilities maintenance people that come and deliver good content around that. So let me press play on this, and we'll chat a little bit about some of the other shows we got.
Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show, where we highlight the essential work that keeps our parks and facilities thriving. From local ball fields to multi-use athletic complexes, field maintenance ensures every space is safe, ready, and welcoming for play and community events. Facility maintenance is the backbone of operational excellence, ensuring that recreation centers, playgrounds, and shared spaces are functional, clean, and built to last. Behind the scenes, equipment maintenance keeps vital tools and machinery in peak condition. At the core of future-forward thinking is sustainability management, integrating green practices that reduce environmental impact and enhance long-term resource stewardship. Facilities maintenance is more than routine upkeep. It's strategic, essential, and foundational to building healthy and resilient communities. This is the Daily Parks and Rec Show, honoring the professionals who keep our spaces running and our communities strong.
All right, so we'll do a little design back of the kitchen work here, Chris. I'd like you to kind of redesign that video and incorporate a lot of the guests that we've had on the facilities maintenance show. Just the flash, the images of them coming onto the show, some of the topics they've covered, and then maybe even roll through the topics that the show intends to cover. So you can do, like I rattled off before, when it comes to the umbrella of facilities maintenance, we could do irrigation. We can do some of the software that's in facilities maintenance side. We can do golf course maintenance, aquatics maintenance, splash pad maintenance, playground equipment, when you need to kind of upgrade, that kind of stuff. Just in general, all the maintenance stuff. And then also do not forget that we need to incorporate, let's see, what do they call it? Setup and tear down when it comes to special setup, day of, and tear down of special events, which is a massive lift. Many departments just don't have Fridays and Mondays to the rest of the work they do because they're busy setting up and tearing down for everything that happens on the weekend, also attending the weekend stuff, taking out trash, making sure all the tables and chairs and tents and electric and everything else that goes along with facilities maintenance. Also, signage is another big one as we start to put better signs that kind of instruct the community as they get on the premises, on the properties, about where things are, kind of how to conduct yourselves, no guns, paraphernalia, you name it, on the property. This signage is a big part of that. Um, Chris, if you don't mind, create another kind of refresher, at least this month, on facilities maintenance. And like I said, roll through all the other guests that have come on to the show. Um, okay, so I think that's all things facilities maintenance. I'm trying to think if there's something, other updates that I have. But yeah, so we'll be refreshing that as well. So the next one I'd like to go over is Aaron Locks is just an amazing host. It's just been a blessing the whole time to have somebody that's helping us build this out. Um, our youth sports, because youth sports is such a critical part, a critical service that we offer. And if we are seriously trying to reframe our the industry around an essential, um, let's say it's providing essential healthcare and wellness services for our communities, I think youth sports is a big one. It's where, if you look at parents that can afford, where money's really not a problem, why do they put their kids in youth sports? And knowing that, I mean, you can look at your child and see if this is a future D1 athlete. I mean, if you're being honest with it, and most of us just don't have D1 athletes as children. So then why are we putting them in sports? They're not going to get a scholarship. They're not going to get they're not going to join some pro team after. Some will, very few. Um, but yet we still enroll our children in soccer and volleyball and tennis lessons and swimming lessons. So what's the why? The reason is because children can learn so much from their coaches, from their teammates, from the environment of youth sports, where they get to experience wins and losses and overcoming maybe the pain that comes along, the physical pain that comes along with running real hard, pushing your little body, and cooperating as a team, learning to pass the ball, learning all the skills that come along with all the variety of youth sports that's offered. And this is just what you would do to create a healthy young child, young teenager, young adult as they come in. And there's so many opportunities around there, not just to be a young athlete, but to be maybe a team captain, or to be an official, or to be a coach. And even when it comes to parents, a lot of parents are coaching for the first time their child's soccer team. And this is the first time that they've played soccer. The parent hasn't played soccer. They're literally going on YouTube videos and to learn different drills and skills that they want to teach their little team. And again, this is a lot like herding cats, because you're working with second graders, third graders, fifth to eighth graders, high schoolers even. Um, and they're learning all these lessons. And the parents are a huge part of this when it comes to volunteering for coaching, assistant coaching, getting the uniforms, maybe driving the big minivan to the events. There's just so much that goes on that is so beneficial to our community as a whole. But what we don't want to do is leave behind a couple of huge groups. I would say that the lion's share of young kids, number one, just really can't afford these travel ball teams where it's super expensive, and it's insane how much money parents can spend on a child through youth sports. And yes, they get all those lessons. But how many kids in your community just cannot afford, or don't have, both parents working, and so they really can't even get to the games or the practices and stuff? And so, who swoops in to make sure that all the children have the opportunity, either through scholarship or just through much more cost efficient sports programs that's offering, and that is Parks and Recreation. And so, having a child that can sit in youth sports for sometimes a decade of their life, where they're learning how to stretch and care for themselves and heal and work as a team and deal with wins and losses. These are lifetime lessons to our future engineers and doctors and lawyers and workers and teachers and counselors and therapists that no, they may not get a full-blown athletic scholarship. Hold on, let me throw up the logo here while I'm looking at this. That's this one. Okay, this is our Thursday show, all about youth sports and talking about all the topics that I'm covering right now when it comes to youth sports and the benefit of it, that your community thrives when you have kids that are learning these valuable life lessons that they're going to take with them into their life. And a great example, I can just use my own family as an example. I was I got a full cheerleading scholarship to University of Kentucky, and it just paid for everything. And I also came back after college and coached track and field because I was also a javelin and a discus thrower. Um, and I ran cross country not because I have the body type to in any form or fashion compete in running. The guys I was competing against were like gazelles with a much smaller frame and could really compete at this level. But the lessons I personally learned and the lessons all of my children learned in cross country still stick with them today. And many of them still run as a way to stay in shape and to stay active, and never had a chance of getting a college scholarship because they were not some, 5-minute or 4-minute miler or 2-mile or 3-mile runner. But these lessons stick with them forever. And how many of us have participated in sports and little quotes and wisdom that our coaches share with us, we still bring with us into the entirety of our lives. And so if we truly are wanting to do something about, childhood obesity or teen obesity or, all the healthcare issues that are faced when someone in their 30s or 40s or even 50s or 60s never had a chance to really understand how to work with this body that we have in youth sports, um, then we're going to end up paying for it in healthcare. And so that's going to be more the reactive side of society. But there is a huge proactive side that is essential if you want to combat the problems that will come into an adult's life who didn't have any type of exposure to athletics or sports or and what did Jamie Sabat call it the other day? It wasn't athletics. It was something I need to go. She wrote a great article. I probably just need to see if I can take her article and put it in our newsletter because it was just spot on at how we should reframe what we're doing. That youth sports is not about creating D1 athletes. It's just not. Not from Parks and Recreation. I know there are some teams that is their focus, but that is not the lion's share, the majority of the population that Parks and Recreation services. And we certainly don't want to stop that, or we will pay the price of unhealthy adults if we don't invest in the children of our communities. And this is a public service. And a lot of these sports fields, not a lot, these sports fields, these gyms, these tennis courts, these pickleball courts, these volleyball courts are already built, owned, operated by the community. It's just about the programming and getting this programming up and running, funded, a place where parents can come and volunteer, coach their kids' teams. And this is what Parks and Recs really focuses on. This is the genius, the brilliance, the beauty of what they do is they look to include, and I know inclusion has like a stigma on it today because of politics, and I hate to see that because I think the general thesis there is that we want to include all children and give all children an opportunity, and it's not their fault that they were born into maybe a community that can't afford um, you know 10,000 a year or 5,000 a year. It's crazy the numbers that people are throwing around when it comes to youth sports and these clubs and leagues and stuff. Meanwhile, leaving behind 90% of the population that could never afford to participate in some big competitive team that might have, 10% of that team go on to get college scholarships. And that's really not what Parks and Recreation is about. They don't claim to, they're not even claiming or even trying to be the end all be all when it comes to creating collegiate athletes. What they're trying to do is give opportunity for kids to just learn about all the things inside of youth sports. And Aaron Locke has been doing this for 40 years, and he brings some of the best coaches, officials, athletic directors across America onto his show. And so I'm a huge supporter of that show, and I'm so honored and glad that it is part of the DPRS Media Co, the Daily Parks and Rec Show family of shows that we put on. So that is every Thursday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Aaron Locke, thank you so much for everything that you're doing for the youth sports and the children that are involved in that. Okay, so the other show, let's see, we went to facilities maintenance show, YPN. Okay, this one, and newsflash, today, I think in about an hour, 2 hours. So 1:30, I think 1:00 p.m. Eastern. Excuse me, I think that's 2:00. Let me go ahead and see. Let's see. Gabby Vera just posted something on that. I'm going to make sure I get the time right. Gabby Vera. Shout out to Gabby. She is one of our, she is one of the people leading the charge when it comes to where does she make that post? Here we go. See all posts. Today? Is it today? No, I'm 100% no, it's today. Oh shoot, Gabby, sorry. Okay, here we go. Tuesday. Nope, that's the next one. 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, 11 a.m. Pacific. So today they are having so if you're not involved with YPN, and what is YPN? Young Professionals Network. And so this was the brainchild of, I'm probably going to butcher this, but I believe if y'all haven't heard what's the name of that podcast? It's called Reckless, the Reckless podcast. I believe one of the founders of the Reckless podcast had this idea about doing something for the young professionals. And they introduced me, and then Gabby spoke about it. Molly spoke about it. They came onto the show, and immediately it became one of the shows that I feel like we have to produce something for the young professionals. And so let's go ahead and define who are young professionals. What are the buckets of people that fit inside this young professionals network bucket? So I've kind of categorized it into 5 different groups. Group number 1 is the high schoolers and the college kids that maybe are already kind of in Parks and Recreation. They've grown up in Parks and Rec. They've volunteered. They don't quite know, undecided of where they want to go, but are, maybe want to get into coaching or teaching, or perhaps even Parks and Recreation. And either they've said, hey, I do want to go into Parks and Recreation. I want to pursue a college degree in it, or I just want to go right out of high school into Parks and Recreation, whether it's to do urban forestry, maintain the facilities, or aquatics, or therapeutic recreation, or work their way up into the leadership of Parks and Recreation, and perhaps even become a director, assistant director, superintendent one day. That's bucket number 1. So it's just the really young people, where we're talking about maybe 17 to 22-year-olds. You would call these the students bucket, the student bucket. So this show is for you. If you are a student, if you are a volunteer, I encourage you, come on to the show. Tell us where you're at in life, what's attracting you to Parks and Rec. What can we do as an industry better to serve you and to help educate you and maybe expose you to the industry more and more? That's, I would say, our primary bucket. That's who we're serving. All right, so that's group number 1. And then, of course, anyone that's doing an internship currently, please come on to the show and tell us that this show is every Friday, 12 noon Eastern. So it's a weekly show that we cater to the young professionals. Okay, bucket number 2 is going to be, let's say you're now in Parks and Recreation, but it's your first 1 to 5 years. And holy cow, what did I get myself into? this is this is so much that goes on in Parks and Rec. It's every weekend, it's every holiday, it's throughout the week, it's nonstop, and there's so much to learn. I tell you, Parks and Rec professionals, they are just hat racks. You know, I could just call the entire industry hat racks because there are so many hats that a Parks and Rec professional wears. And it's just a lot on year 1 through 5 to just understand it, embrace it, and really just start to dig in and start to add the skills necessary to become excellent at your craft, at your career of Parks and Recreation. And so if this is your first 1 to 5 years, this show is also for you. The Young Professionals Network that is run through NRPA is blowing and going. It's a very robust. They meet monthly. They meet at the annual convention. They're very well organized, and now we're starting to see states that have their own chapters or state YPNs. And their Traps does a good job with it. I've spoken with them. GRPA does a good job. There's probably, if I had to guess, about a dozen states that have already launched some version of YPN for their state. So this is for you. Okay, so that's group number 2, which is the first 1 to 5 years in the Parks and Rec. So group number 3 is going to be if you are a mentor, a professor, a teacher, running, like really trying to educate. Let's say you have a classroom of students that you teach at the university level, or let's just say you're a mentor to a young professional, or you're just someone that wants to help out. Shout out to Chad Horton. Is one of those guys that just wants to help out the young professionals community. The show is for you. Please come on to the show. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'd love to have you on the show and tell us what you're doing in the classroom setting, what you're doing on a mentorship level. That's going to be our 3rd bucket. So our 4th bucket is if you are running, and this is probably our hardest group. If you are running an internship program at your city and you're doing it well, and when I say doing it well, paid or unpaid. So on one end, what is an internship program? Could just be an unpaid internship that now a lot of these college degrees, these universities require 1 semester as an intern in a Parks and Rec department for you to graduate. All the way up to a paid $15 an hour or whatever. I know Molly runs one, and we've had several guests on the show that run very robust internship programs, and we need to get you on the show to explain how you do it, why you do it, and what are the basic 101 things you need to know about starting and running a strong internship program within your Parks and Rec department. So these are the groups that we're catering to for that Friday show. All things young professionals, that's going to be your Friday show. Like I said, every Friday, it's a weekly show, 12 noon Eastern. Okay, so the next show we have, this is the fun, this is a fun show. If you have not seen, this is a monthly show. This is called The Rec Room. And so shout out to JP and Thomas White for being the instigators behind this. Shout out to KP, shout out to Brian, who are also on that team. Shout out to Donna, shout out to, I know I'm leaving one person. Katrina came on the show, but there's another lady, I think, in finance over there. I think Donna's in finance. But anyway, the whole leadership team of Henry County Parks and Rec shows up second Wednesday of every month, pulling the curtain back, and you get to see this truly family atmosphere that they have made. The culture they have is beautiful, and they claim to be the best run Parks and Rec department in America. And I love the fact that they're lifting that title up, promoting that title, and really trying to earn it. And I think it's just a great example of what a Parks and Rec team, family, community can do for the city, and how they are truly mission driven and just accomplishing so much in their day to days. And you have a whole leadership team on stage where you get to kind of see that monthly. So we help produce that show. I help co-host it along with Thomas and JP, and can't say enough about that team. They truly are an inspiring team, and I think that if you are running a Parks and Rec department, that's going to be a good show for you to just see, how excellence is achieved in Parks and Recreation and running these departments. Now, I know there's a lot of other great departments out there that maybe don't have a show and stuff, but I do encourage you to reach out to me, and I can certainly help you produce a podcast and maybe get your message out there as well. Excuse me. Okay, and then lastly, well, I've already spoken about the weekly Parks and Rec bus, so we'll just run through it. Our leadership series, which is what we're doing right now, it is a weekly, 4-day-a-week show, running 12 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and then we have our facilities maintenance, which is more of a morning show, 10:30 a.m., and then we have Aaron Locke's show, which is our Thursday show. Then we have our YPN show, which is a Friday show all about young professionals. And then we have our Rec Room, which is a monthly show. And then, as I said before, we have our weekly newsletter. So that's kind of the updates across all of it. Now, we have about 2 or 3 other shows that are kind of bubbling up to the top. One that I've been preaching about is going to be a show that I think is going to come out all on urban forestry. Urban forestry is just, and not just, it's urban forestry inside of Parks and Rec department. So we're not just talking about, federal forests, or, we're talking about public land. And when I say public land, we're talking about right of ways, sidewalks, green spaces, parks, trails, and all the trees that have to be managed and fertilized and trimmed and pruned, and picking out the species. And these are not small lifts. Like when you say we have 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 trees in our tree inventory, that this is a full-time job for an arborist, a master arborist, a crew with a bucket truck and chipper boxes and saws, and they have to have a deep understanding of what it means to manage 10,000 trees in their community, and how to work around the sidewalks and the utilities and all the things around there. And I have spoken with master arborists. We've had, I think, about 5 shows dedicated to urban forestry in Parks and Recreation so far, just on the facilities maintenance show. And the more I talk to this community, it could easily be a weekly show to really talk about that topic, because it's such a deep topic. Let me throw the DPRS Media Co logo up there. And so that's a show that kind of naturally, organically just is building itself as the community of urban foresters, of arborists, master arborists. As we get in touch with them, we're going to have way more than 52 people that could talk to fill out that weekly show. Maybe we'll start it out as a monthly show, but I think we've already got a lot of organizations, and there's a lot of national and state organizations that are masters of this topic that we could bring on as well. So that's another show that's popping up. And I would say our next show that's really starting to form itself is all things state parks. So state parks, we do see a lot of rangers, park rangers, state parks that are at some of our state events, some of that are NRPA. You'll see them with kind of like almost the official ranger, almost like a law enforcement uniform. But how you run a state park is so insanely different than how you would run a municipal Parks and Rec department inside the local city or town government, or even we call them parishes here in Louisiana, but county government. State parks are totally different. They are almost like running your whole city to where you are. And shout out to Desmond. I think I had him yesterday. Let me make sure I pronounce his name right because we had a really great phone conversation. Yes, Desmond Timmons, and he's over there in Georgia at the FD Roosevelt State Park, 11,000 acres. He has about a 1.2 to 1.5 million dollar budget for one 11,000 acre park, and they're in the black all the time. And so they don't have, they produce all the revenue in-house on the property through renting out campsites, through um, um, cabins, through big group facilities. And they have so many creative ways to sustain the work they are doing in-house without depending on federal money, state money, and they are huge economic impacts for their area. So just his one park that Desmond runs, they have a $64 million a year economic impact. They get 400 to 600,000 visitors a year to this one state park. And this is just a very common story about what happens inside of state parks. And so as I hear these stories of park rangers and park managers of state parks, I'm like, this really is its own show. It really is at least a monthly show, but I'm thinking more of a weekly show. So those are two shows that are kind of coming up to the top as natural kind of outflowings of trying to understand what happens in parks and recreation nationwide. And I think that's just another fantastic example of what we can do with a whole media company dedicated to this industry. Is we're not just going to talk about uh, in general parks and recreation. We really need to kind of carve out shows that speak on professionals inside of the umbrella of parks and recreation. Um, Now, some other shows that might I can see in the future already kind of being their own show is therapeutic recreation, aquatics, and then I'd love to create a show just on the software and the AI and robotics, and that's my wheelhouse just from my former life in being in technology. And of course, y'all know I've started the Bitcoin Daily podcast, and that was a show I ran for 2 years, which kind of started this whole media creation part of my life. But I really think that we should stay focused as a community as to how AI and robotics can help revolutionize this industry, and really give us a lot more bandwidth to serve our community when we have um, really robust artificial intelligence that can help us manage a lot of the day-to-day. Um, Software can do so much to streamline any operation. And so whether you're just a private company or um, a city-run, government-funded public service, AI will help you do your job better and more efficiently so that you can stretch those dollars and do all these projects that are thrown at you, and even manage some of the workflows. And then especially when you pair AI with robotics, that they can really start doing some of the heavy lifting on the facilities maintenance side. And we're already starting to see a lot of that come into our industry. Shout out to Carrollton and Kim Bybee, Carrollton, Texas. What a great example of somebody that I think they have, gosh, probably approaching 20 fully autonomous robots that are either field sprayers. I know they've got about 8 fully autonomous Husqvarna robots that are cutting fields at night and cutting. Now they're cutting their fields twice a week, and they just kind of have these little dog houses that they built around them. And they go in there to get their little charge, and then they go out and cut the grass. And it's just amazing to see robotics come in and really expand the bandwidth of Carrollton, Texas. And that's just one of probably many, and soon to be the whole country, examples of how we can incorporate AI and robotics into parks and recreation so that we can deliver these services in a much more cost efficient way and just really keep ticking up the level of service that we provide in Parks and Recreation. So personally, that would be a show that I would love to have to really push. And now when that one comes out, I don't know. We'll just kind of play it by ear. But with the state parks, I think that's going to be an obvious move that we'll probably make in the next 30 to 60 days. Also, what was the other one I mentioned? State parks and shoot, I can't remember. Yeah, it'll come to me later. Yeah, so there's really a lot of opportunities to create urban forestry. So urban forestry, and then I've got a couple other people that just have powerful messages that we'll be helping create shows around. And then I've got I don't know if y'all have ever heard of Breck Park, our shining beacon of excellence here in the state of Louisiana, one of our strongest and most robust park systems in the state. I am going to be helping them to create a monthly podcast just for Breck. And we've got a couple other state associations that would like me to help them create stuff as well. And so that's kind of the update that I have for y'all today. As far as what we're trying to do, what we've accomplished, what was the original mission vision, which is to create a media company. I always like to use the analogy. Imagine some sports enthusiasts saying, what if we had a show just dedicated to sports, and we could cover college sports and pro sports and all the different sports and Olympics and football and baseball and hockey and basketball, and we'll call it ESPN. And so now we've got 24/7 programming just for sports enthusiasts. And so when I created the Bitcoin Daily Show, and then we were making content, and I saw how many media companies were out there making content just on Bitcoin, the light bulb that went off in my head was, why don't we do something like this, like ESPN was to sports, like all these Bitcoin media companies were to Bitcoin? Why can't we do something like this for Parks and Recreation? Because it's such an important part of our community. I mean, parks is some of the most prime real estate in our community. So just how it affects the value of a home when you're close to a park or even touching a park, it's insane. I know here in New Orleans, if you're on Audubon Park, they have houses that touch the park. There's no road between them. Those homes can sell for twice as expensive as a house that's literally one block away. And so what it does to the economic value of the real estate in a community, not to mention the economic impact that parks and special events are having, that are bringing in tourist dollars and providing a sense of community for their communities with these special events that are scattered throughout the year, sometimes every weekend, but oftentimes, 10, 20 events is very normal for a Parks and Rec department to manage throughout the year. And so Parks and Recreation provides a huge value for its community. And there really is no one out there that's saying, we're going to make a media company, a standalone media company that just speaks to Parks and Recreation, all things Parks and Recreation. And so that was kind of the original idea. And then, of course, as we got our first 100 shows under our belt, these other shows, these other standalone shows like Facility Maintenance, Youth Sports, YPN, and eventually Urban Forestry and State Parks and many others will be just natural outflowings of telling the message of the professionals inside of Parks and Recreation and all the different skills and masteries that it takes to put on a Parks and Recreation department in your city or in your state or in your parish, something like that. And so here we are, 200 episodes deep and still going strong. And I cannot wait to see where we are at the end of our 300th episode with all the different other shows that are coming in. And as we build out our team, which we're now up to a 7-man team. Shout out to our latest addition, Randy and Suzanne came on in the last few months. Randy came on last month. And then, of course, shout out to Sherry from the beginning. She is out there just networking her tail off, reaching out to people. Thank y'all so much for allowing her to do her job and sharing different contacts with her. That really means a lot. Anytime you can say, hey, I really like what y'all are doing, you should get John Smith or Susie on the show. They are amazing at therapeutics. They have an unbelievable golf course that they run, or unbelievable at urban forestry. And so she reaches out to them and gets them on the show. She's our full-time networker. And then we have our very talented digital artist team. Kathleen was our first one to come onto the team. So Kathleen, thank you so much for the hard work you've done, for sticking with us since the beginning. She has just been tirelessly out there producing a lot of the content that y'all see, all the promos and the reels and the shorts and everything else. And then we brought on a machine, Chris. He is just the best storyteller. And he has made a massive career shift, taken a big risk to come on with us. And it was just amazing to see the work and the talent that Chris has brought to the table. A lot of these little commercials, he's the ones building that, a lot of the logos and stuff. And our latest addition to the I guess digital artist content creation team was Hannah. She's tirelessly working all the shorts, all the promos. She makes those. So we've got quite a talented team that we've put together between the 7 of us, and it's growing. And so I think next what you'll see is some college interns. Oh wait, I can't leave out Aaron. I can't believe that. So Aaron shows up every Thursday and hosts a show, and he books his own coaches, his own athletic directors. And he's just got a 40-year network in youth sports, and he produces a quality show in youth sports. So I guess he would be our 8th team member. And then a shout out to Sevi, who is helping me put together a board of advisors. And I could definitely thank you to everyone that is helping critique the show. Without the critiques, without the feedback, we would not be half as far as we are today. So shout out to everyone that has contributed to the show and has given us contacts and has given us really strong critiques. We take those critiques to heart and we put them to work. I've always believed in just start. So for those of you that have an entrepreneurial bug, just start and iterate along the way with feedback from your community, and keep that feedback loop really tight from your audience to your product. And so if our product is great content and programming in Parks and Recreation, the feedback loop between this community and the product is as tight as we can get it. And then we try to make improvements, incremental improvements along the way. And that's how you build something great. Don't wait to launch, just launch and then allow your community to help you build it. And this is exactly what we've done over the last 7-8 months in creating DPRS Media Company. So thank you to everyone. I'm going to play our little, let me play that thank you one more time as a shout out, and then we'll close it out with our regular promotion.
From a simple mic in a rec center to a full-scale media company for the people who power our parks. 200 real stories, 5 original shows, and more to come, with one powerful mission: to lift up the voices of Parks and Rec professionals across the country. From maintenance crews and young interns and youths who love sports, to directors and public servants making a difference. We've built a platform that honors the unsung heroes behind every clean trail, every weekend tournament, every safe, welcoming park. This milestone isn't just about the content, it's about the people, the passion, the purpose. To every guest, listener, and supporter, thank you. The next chapter starts today. This is DPRS Media Co. Media for public service.
All right. So again, thank you, Chris, for making that for us. Thank you to everyone that's got us to our 200th episode. We promise to keep going. We're going to keep hammering away here, honing our craft and continuing to build a media company for all things Parks and Recreation and the Parks and Rec community. Craig LeBlanc, the DoorMan, signing off with another episode. We've got a big lineup for the rest of the week, so tune in. And don't forget, if you are part of YPN, in a few hours, Gabby and Molly have their YPN monthly virtual meeting you can attend. I will be there. I think Neely Bhatt is speaking today, who is, I've never heard, actually, I don't think I've ever heard Neely Bhatt speak, but his reputation precedes him, man. Everybody raves about how good he is. And so I get to experience Neely Bhatt for the first time in a few hours. So I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully I can drive a few more people over there to have that same experience. I'll see y'all here again tomorrow. Love you guys. Y'all take care. Bye.
Welcome to DPRS Media Co, the first media company built for the people behind the Parks and Rec community. We don't just cover on Parks and Rec, we elevate it, we amplify it, we honor it. At the heart of everything we do is one mission: to serve the public servants, the professionals who design, maintain, and lead the parks that shape our communities. Under the daily Parks and Rec show, we produce 6 powerful platforms. Leadership in Parks and Rec, a spotlight on directors, superintendents, and visionaries shaping the future of public spaces. Facility maintenance, where the boots hit the ground, a deep dive into the systems, crews, and craftsmanship that keep our parks clean, safe, and beautiful. Young Professionals Network, shining a light on the next generation of Parks and Rec. Students, interns, and mentors sharing how we build a legacy together. Youth Sports Mastery, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics. This series is for coaches, parents, and rec leaders working to make youth sports fun, fair, and meaningful again. The Rec Room, hosted by the passionate leaders of Henry County Parks and Rec. This show brings frontline energy and real-life stories from the field. And the weekly Parks and Rec Post, our official newsletter delivering stories, insights, and community wins every week. We are DPRS Media Co, LLC, a media company with a mission to uplift the professionals who serve every community, every park, every day.